And
Well,
you're free to go ahead.
I think it's just ticked over into the afternoon. So good afternoon, everyone. Hope you've all had a fantastic morning. As Tracy said, my name's Eddie Sanjuan. I'm the head coach of Scotland Women's Open touch rugby team. So in touch, you have a men's team, women's team, and a mixed team. And open grade is the elite level which we play at. Lucy, who's on the call, she's one of my players, so that's fantastic, and it's great to see this communication, spreading of coach knowledge. So today, what I really wanted to talk about was the importance of culture and how it links in and how it's so fundamental to a team, getting a team to work together and making them motivated. I've got this grand designs image here in front of you because I'd like you to think if you're making a grand design. I'd like to try and leverage off your imagination here a little bit and just picture the scene. Bear with me on this one. You've just won the lottery and you're going to make your own bar. It can be whatever kind of bar you want. It can be a coffee bar, juice bar, cocktail bar. These are just to give you a bit of inspiration. So you've got your idea. You've spoken to the architects, the interior designers. You've managed all these pieces together. It's going to have the atmosphere you want. It's going to have the right colors, the right decor, everything that you want. Okay, so just have that in your mind. Think about that favorite color, that core color you want going through it. Opening nights tomorrow, and you realize I've got absolutely nowhere for my patrons to sit. What are you going to do? I need to get some bar stools. I need some bar stools quick, pronto. So you head down to your local bar stool shop. I'm sure we've all got one just around the corner. Your bar can accommodate up to 10 bar stools, and it needs 8 at least, okay? So what you're going to pick from what they have on option. So this is the first bar stool you see, fits perfectly. It's got 4 strong legs. It's got a good comfy seat, and the colors are perfect for your color scheme. This is what we're looking for, but there's only got 7. What am I going to do for the remainder? I need at least 1 more, maximum of 3 more. So we start looking through the alternatives. So we've got this one, it's bright orange. I'm not sure that's going to work. Some faces are kind of giving it a bit of a squirm as that one's coming up. Right height, wrong color. We've got this one over here, which looks pretty similar to our starting one, but it's got a broken leg. How's that going to work out? You've got another one, which is the same as our original one, but it's just 3 inches short. But it looks okay. Got one, again, looks very similar to a starting one, but it's got a yellow seat. So not sure about that. And lastly, we've got this one with a lovely high back, the electric blue seat. It's the right height, but it's the wrong style. So what would you pick? Tracy, I'm not sure. Do we have access to a chat in the breakout room?
Yeah, people should be able to chat.
I'd love to see what people think about what they would pick for their bar. And can I can see the chat? Yeah. Yellow seat. Okay, good, Tracy. Well, we'll have a little discussion about all the different bar stools and what they kind of mean, but it'd be great to see a couple more people feed into what they would pick. Don't worry, there's no right or wrong on this one. Right height, wrong color. Happy with some of each as long as I can paint the legs to match. Okay. Some interesting points coming through there. Right height, wrong color. That's it's another yellow seat. Okay, well, as you may have figured out, the bar stools I'm talking about are your team, and they're the players you're going to select. And we're bringing this into the culture piece. So for me, I've chosen a bar stool to represent players because for me, it represents the pillars of play for players. So every bar stool has got 4 legs, and every bar stool needs 4 legs. If you take one of them away, that'll fall over. it'll be rickety, it'll be unstable. And these 4 legs represent for me technical ability, tactical, physical, and psychological. And all 4 need to be present. It's not good enough to have someone who's got an incredible pass, but has no idea how to use that pass, or someone who's super fast, but when it comes to the crunch, they just buckle under the pressure. All 4 legs need to be present. And we've got a tendency to focus on the technical, tactical, and physical because they're quite easy to look at, but the psychological is so important. And I'm sure you guys have picked up on that a lot throughout today. So important that they're all present. But we spoke about the seat a couple of times when we're talking about which to pick. And for me, the seat is the culture piece. It's what brings it all together. It makes it comfortable. It makes it work. It's not just four bits of wood. And for me, that's really important, that a player is more than just the sum of their parts. And we need to come together in a full squad to work together. I mentioned right at the start, having that deco and it all working together. All those bar stools need to align with your deco. So these are the bar stools I offered you. And a couple of you went for the yellow seats, I think. And we're just going to discuss how I view each of these seats. And I don't know if that might change some of your thoughts on what you may or may not do. So these are the 4 seats. So I'll start off with the top left, the blue seat. To me, this is a real superstar of your team. This is someone who's got all the flash bits, all the extra bits. However, it doesn't fit. It's electric blue and the rest of your bar is green. So whilst it might be quite flashy and quite nice, it's a bit of a gimmick. And ultimately, it's not going to fit. It's not going to gel with what you want. You've got the orange seat, which has got 4 good legs, but the seat is bright orange and it's plastic, so it's probably not going to be changeable. For me, this is the uncoachable player. They're a good player, but they're not really coachable. There's just something different. It's not going to quite work. You've got the yellow seat. Now, this one is far more akin to the rest of our seats. And we're going to have to just make some slight tweaks to fit in with the culture. This is someone who is coachable. This is someone we can adapt to work with the team, to work with what we want. The one below it, we've got the one which had the sugary leg. Sugary is a Scottish word for rickety. You know, sometimes that doesn't always translate well. This person's missing one of the key components of what he needs to be a good player. They're a good fit, but that bar stool is going to break at some stage, and it's not going to be good for the squad. And then you've got the slightly smaller one. This is the one that sometimes gets overlooked for me. This is someone who's got all the key components, is an excellent cultural fit, but just probably isn't as good a player. But it works. They can contribute. They can be part of what we need. So for me, I'd be looking at either the slightly smaller green seat or the yellow seat as what? The extra stools that I would take into the bar. And to be honest, I'd probably take them both. You know, it's good to have that little bit extra there available to you. So for me, culture is just so important in a squad. Having the 4 pillars of play pulled together by the culture. So how do we build culture? It's not an easy one, and it doesn't happen overnight, but it does have to start at the top. And it does have to, when I say the top, that can be the coach, can be the manager, can be the organization, but they have to reflect and determine their own values. What are my values? What's important to me? And I don't know if this is a journey that you guys have been on in the past. Maybe it's something you're looking to do. For me, I did this probably 2 or 3 years ago, and it was really difficult. You know, when you think about values, you think, oh, I want to be a good person. I want to show respect. Most of us do, okay? They're just kind of fundamentals of being a good person. So I started thinking about what annoys me. You know, what do I see in other people and go, I don't really like that. What do I see in other people and I think, oh, that's fantastic. And start looking at these points. And that start helping me determine what's important to me. And I think my values, which I'm going to come on to, I think they've changed 3 or 4 times. as you evolve, as your thinking develops. And once you've got your personal values, you bring them together as a team and determine what our values are and what is important to us. So the team has ownership. The team determine their own future, the way they behave, the way they act. And I did some work with a rugby team not long ago, and they had their team values and their team culture, but they also had values and culture for their subunits. So their front five, their back five, and it doesn't, so you can have the team culture, which is absolutely essential, but the subunits can have their own way of being too. That's okay, as long as it all feeds up and it all feeds in. But for me, key to all this is accountability. You've done the reflection piece, you need to be accountable. And that's self-reflection and accountability. Did I live up to our values? Did I behave appropriately? All these points keep this in check and it keeps it robust. Otherwise, it's just lip service and it's not really going to get you anywhere. Our men's open team actually have an app that one of their players built for them. And every time they do some training away from camp, they have to rate themselves in 1 to 5 for each of their values. Have I lived up to these values? If not, how could I do it better next time? And that's just a quick, easy way to keep that accountability and link it back in to create those good habits. So I spoke about what my values would be. So my values are being open and honest, having a high effort level, and always having your eyes up. Now, none of these are performance related. These are all about attitude and mindset. Anyone can do these. So being an open and honest, just even if it could be selection stuff, it could be feedback, but even just, I'm going to be late. You know, I'd much rather someone said, I'm running late, I'll be 20 minutes late, rather than just turn up 20 minutes late. These small things which really make a difference to me. Having a high effort level. The harder I work means the harder you have to work. Then the harder you work, the harder I have to work. And you get that virtuous circle. And always eyes up. For me, when you're a defender and something bad happens, you don't want your head to drop. You know, think about the picture that projects to other people, to your teammates. Keep your head up, keep your eyes up. When you're an attacker, always keep your eyes up so you can scan and see what's going on. When I'm in my sub box, I've always got my eyes up, looking at other players. If someone's talking to me, making eye contact, building those relationships, building that respect, always keeping my eyes up makes a big difference. My mantra, which underpins all this, is always supporting the growth of a team. Celebrate the wins, support people who are struggling. Everyone is responsible. Your behavior impacts everyone. So if you're not bringing intensity and effort in training, are you supporting the growth of a team, or are you just making the exercise a little bit redundant and not really helping us grow? These are the key points for me. And again, reflection and accountability. I always ask players, are you supporting the growth of the team? What you did there on the park, did you support the growth of the team? And they'll be able to say, yeah, I did. Or, you know what, Eddie, I didn't. I'll do it next time, don't worry. So I'm not criticizing them, I'm just saying, are you doing what you said you would do? So bringing this all together, you've got the pillars of play, which are fundamental for every player. And they all need to be there, not just for technical and tactical, which often gets so much attention. That psychological piece out, it's just so important, so relevant. 4 legs with no seat is just a pile of sticks. Culture is king, okay? I'm going to talk, what type of superstars do you want in the team? Do you want superstars who can chuck that long ball, who can score that kick from miles out, but contribute nothing to the team? Or do you want the people who will work hard, who are driven, who will motivate everyone else in the team? They're the kind of superstars I want in my team, because I know we'll end up in a good place and everyone will drive forward the growth of that team. And that's all about culture for me, having the right people doing the right things. So I hope that was interesting. I hope that was helpful. And I think we've got some time for questions. Is that correct, Tracy?
Yeah, that would be great. If anyone's got any questions, you can hop on the mic or you can put in the chat box. But thank you very much. That was so insightful. Wish my guys' football team that I play with would take some of those things into account.
I've certainly had a learning curve over the last few years. Sometimes selected players who they're brilliant, but then they come to training and you talk about radiators and drains. We just drain the energy away from the team because they don't put that energy in. They don't have the right culture. They don't have the right values. Yeah, you want those radiators.
Yeah, I think it comes down to simple things like language. I know if I've got a player that I'm running beside who's like, oh, I'm so excited for training, I'm excited for training. Whereas if someone's beside me saying, oh, I can't be bothered, oh, I've got another hour and a half of this to go, then it's such a different feel, isn't it? Emily, you got your hand up?
Yeah, I suppose just a bit of an afterthought, even when you're discussing kind of radiators and drains at the end there. What's your take on people being able to adapt to a culture? I feel like there's so much research now and knowledge around kind of that neuroplasticity, and I don't know what age you work with, but certainly children kind of being influenced by the environment that they're in. What role does that play in picking a different stool and changing the seat over time for it to fit yours?
Yeah, I think that's there's two parts to that question, I think. I think with the culture and the picking stools piece, there's only certain bits of culture that the coach can determine when they're doing the selection piece, because a lot of the culture has to come from a team. So you can have some non-negotiables for me, those values that I put forward. And then once the team comes together, they determine their own culture and their own behaviors. But you have to see that good stuff coming through to get them to that stage. And with the kids piece, I do work with 7-year-olds all the way up to 40-year-olds, and I run kids camps, and I do a player of the day every day, and it's permanently about behaviors. It's never about top performer. It's always about behaviors. Who's passed the ball to their teammates the most? Who's helped their teammates? Who's helped the coaches? And I think you can really instill that cultural piece and a bit of competition. Kids love competition, right? So if a competition is not who can score the most goals, but who can be the best person, those habits will come through over time. So I think you can influence them.
Got you. A little bit of natural and then influence the rest.
Yeah, I mean, some kids don't buy into it, but they're rarely, you can see that in the group dynamic, they won't be the one who's involved with everything. And you can try and influence these things as much as you can. You can put in place the frameworks and the process to try and develop those good behaviors and those good habits. But for a camp, I've got to accept whoever comes to me rather than me selecting the kids with the good behaviors. I've got a club which I run, which Lucy, when she's in Edinburgh, plays for. And so I tend to see the kids, when they get to the top range of what I can offer as an business, I'll say, well, you want to come and play for my club, but I'll ask the good kids, the good behavior kids, rather than necessarily the superstar kids. So over time, they will become good players. That's not a problem. But we need to have the right values when they come to our club.
Brilliant. Time for one more question, anyone?
Just one last piece there. It's okay for everyone to have different values and everyone to have different ways of being. The bar stools can have those little intricacy details. That's fine as long as we all come together. So you don't need robots in the team. Robots isn't good. Individuals are good, but individuals coming together to be a collective is what we really want.
It's so refreshing to hear, Eddie. I know that when I do talks, I always go on about attitude and the importance of attitude, kind of the same thing, that, you know, your values, attitudes align. So it's nice to hear that coaches take that stance as well and not just pick the superstars.
Yeah, it's taken me a while to figure it out, but I've certainly made mistakes and learned the lessons, and I think I'm there now.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time. We now have lunchtime, everyone, so we'll have a break. And what we're going to do in the lunch break is, if you want to continue conversations, you want to chat with anyone, we will open up breakout rooms that you can go in, talk to people. I know that I'm not going to force you into breakout rooms, but you know, if you're at a conference, you would have opportunity to network, and it's quite difficult to do that over Zoom. So we can leave the main room, leave this room, go into the main room. I will open up rooms, and if you want to, you can message people via the chat. If you want to ask any of the presenters that are still around questions, there'll be breakout rooms that you can go into. But if that's not for you and you just want to, you know, go a little walk at lunch or get some nice food, then we will be back at 1:15 to start our next session. So but thank you very much for that talk, Ed. It was very insightful.